Welcome. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all New Jersey students, sponsored by the New Jersey Association for College Admissions, Counseling, and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us. And before we start, I am going to go over a few housekeeping announcements. So you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out our full schedule at njacac.org/virtual-fair. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website, which is njacac.org/virtual-fair. I would like now to turn it over to our presenter.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Calla, and I'm a recruitment officer at the University of Toronto. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your evening to join me here today. I will be sharing my screen with you and presenting a PowerPoint presentation, and I'll provide you with an overview of the University of Toronto, and then I'll discuss the application process with the admission requirements. So since we have a limited amount of time to speak today, I wanted to simplify the University of Toronto for you and provide you three main takeaways that I hope you'll remember, and I hope that will give you a good idea of what U of T is all about. So the first takeaway is that the University of Toronto is Canada's top research institution. Not only are we the top university in Canada, but we're also among the world's top universities and attract the best and brightest students, faculty, and academics to our university. Now, what this means for you is that your degree will be highly portable. So if you wanted to come and study at U of T at the undergraduate level and then take your degree back to the US or even overseas to pursue grad studies, professional studies, or jump directly into the workforce, institutions and employers will recognize the quality of education that you will have attained from the University of Toronto. We've produced a lot of innovations and discoveries since our time, things like insulin, the world's first nerve transplant, stem cell research, all began at the University of Toronto. We've also produced Academy Award winners, Olympic athletes, Nobel laureates, prime ministers, and award-winning authors like Malcolm Gladwell and Margaret Atwood. Now, the second takeaway is that U of T is a network of unique communities in the heart of one of the most dynamic regions in the world. I hope you have had the opportunity to visit Toronto, or in the near future will have the opportunity to visit Toronto. It's an extremely diverse city where over half of our population was born outside of Canada and speaks a language other than just English. So it provides for a very welcoming, accepting, tolerant, and safe environment that I hope one day you'll get to experience as well. So we were founded in 1827, and we're actually older than the city of Toronto. So we've certainly become a historical landmark within the downtown area, and the city has definitely grown around the university. Today, we are Canada's largest university with a total undergraduate population of 71,000 undergraduate students. So what that means for our students is that they have a lot of choice. And one of the first choices that they would be making is the campus to study at, because we have three incredible campuses that span the Greater Toronto area, each about an hour away from one another, and each of them being self-contained campuses offering everything from academic support to student life opportunities. We'll begin with our Mississauga campus, which is located about 45 minutes west of the downtown core, located in the city of Mississauga. This campus boasts about 15,000 students, so it does feel much more like a mid-sized campus environment. It's a beautiful campus, lots of green, serene, and just very environmentally friendly, lots of nature, so it's not unusual to see deer just hanging out as you're walking from class to class. It is our youngest campus, and it's undergone a lot of renovations and reconstructions in the last year to 10 years. So it does have a very modern, edgy look and feel at the Mississauga campus. St. George is the original founding campus at U of T. So because of its traditional Victorian Gothic architecture surrounded by the city's kind of urban environment, you do have the best of both, sort of the old and the new right downtown. But this is our largest campus in terms of population. We have about 36,000 undergraduate students here at the St. George campus. And lastly, we have our Scarborough campus, which is about 45 minutes east of downtown. And similar to Mississauga, it offers about a mid-sized campus environment as well, with 14,000 students. So depending on the environment you're looking for, whether it's more of a tight-knit community-like campus or a large city campus, you have the option to choose from 3 wonderful campuses. Now, U of T is broken down into smaller learning communities, or what we call our faculties. You might know this term as a school, like the School of Arts and Science, the School of Engineering. We refer to them as faculties in Canada. And we also have the Faculty of Architecture and Visual Studies, Kinesiology, and Music. But arts, business, and sciences does make up the largest programming area at U of T. So all 3 of our campuses will offer programs in the arts, business, and sciences. So again, you have more of a choice here in terms of the environment that you would like to be a part of. If you are interested in the Faculty of Arts and Science, specifically at the St. George campus, again, our downtown location, then you're also going to be a part of one of our colleges. We have 7 very distinct colleges. It's kind of like the college system in Oxford or Cambridge University in the UK. But the idea behind the colleges is to provide our students with more of a community to be a part of, something that feels much more tight-knit, basically a neighborhood or a home base to be a part of, so that your experience doesn't feel too overwhelming. It makes it easier for you to seek services, get more involved on campus, meet new people, and just develop a solid foundation throughout your university career. So as you can tell from the images, some of the colleges have more of that traditional Victorian look. The others are a little bit more modern, and that could be a deciding factor as to which college might be ideal for you. Residence style, the location on campus, maybe some traditions or legacies that each one of them have maintained, things like that. Now, once our students get to U of T, we want to ensure that they're happy, they're reaching their highest potential. And so there are many ways that we try and achieve this, whether it's through our academic success centers or learning strategists, our health and wellness centers to ensure you are mentally and physically healthy, our accessibility resources for any kind of learning, physical or cognitive disabilities, the Career Center, which you also have access to after you've graduated, and the Center for International Experience as well, for students who have any kind of challenges being away from home or acclimating to the Canadian culture. Now, the third takeaway is that our students have the opportunity to mix and match programs and experiences to build personalized degrees. So being the largest university in Canada, we have over 700 programs and 10,000 courses. So there's no shortage of opportunities in the way that you can build your degree. In fact, it's unparalleled choices for you, meaning no 2 students who study the same program will end up with the same experience. So I mentioned that the arts, business, and science is the largest programming across the university. So you will find your traditional arts and science or arts and social science programs like philosophy, history, political science, sociology, economics. In terms of business, we have different styles of business degrees depending on what kind of pathway you're looking for as a career, whether that's a commerce degree or a Bachelor of Business Administration. Toronto also has the largest financial district in Canada and the 3rd largest in North America. So our students certainly do have opportunities to engage with the partnerships that we've developed, not just locally in the city of Toronto, but nationally and internationally as well. In terms of sciences, we have a variety of different streams, from your traditional life sciences, chemical, physical, and mathematical sciences, computer sciences, and a lot of research opportunities for our undergraduate students, especially in the science, although we cover a variety of areas in research. But even at the undergraduate level, you will have the opportunity to partake in research programs at the University of Toronto. We also have our Faculty of Engineering, which is one of our specialized faculties. There are 3 main entry points to get into our Faculty of Engineering. The first is our Core 8 programs, which includes streams like chemical, civil, computer, electrical, industrial, material, mechanical, and mineral engineering. So if you know which one of these areas you'd like to pursue, you can jump directly into it right from your first year. If you're undecided, however, we do have an undeclared first-year major called Track 1, which allows you to develop a solid foundation among the Core 8 programs to then choose your main focus for the end of your first year. And lastly, we have engineering science, which is more of an enriched curriculum. The first couple of years are foundational, focusing more on multidisciplinary engineering courses. Once you get to your 3rd year, you can then specialize in one of our other 8 majors, including aerospace, robotics, and finance. We have architecture and visual studies, which is a solid program if you're looking to develop a foundation in general architecture to urban planning or design. We also have a graduate program in architecture as well if you are looking for further certification. Kinesiology at U of T is a program that focuses on human movement. So for students who are looking for a career in, say, rehab therapy, sports rehabilitation, sports law, sports administration, or even teaching, kinesiology will build a solid foundation in that and also allow students to apply what they learn in class in a more hands-on practical setting. And lastly, we have our Faculty of Music, which is the smallest faculty at U of T with about 500 students, which is excellent for the students because they get to enjoy a one-on-one weekly mentorship session with their faculty members who are not only well recognized in the city of Toronto for their performance and composition, but also nationally and internationally as well. Now, in terms of building your degree, as I mentioned, we want to give our students the opportunity to build a degree that is personalized to them and really customize it to suit their passion. So we have 3 main sort of minimum ways students can build their degrees. The first is a specialist, meaning as the name suggests, you are going to become an expert in that one particular area. So if you know that there's only one program you want to focus on, let's say that's chemical engineering, you can specialize entirely in that one area. But let's say you have an interest in 2 different programs, you can easily combine 2 different majors together as a double major and pursue your passion in 2 different areas. So for example, you can combine, let's say, political science with economics. Or lastly, the 3rd option would be to combine 1 major with a double minor. I often get asked about PPE programs. So for students interested in, say, political science, philosophy, and economics, they can combine those 3 programs as well. So there's many different variations of how you can build a degree. The nice thing is that you don't need to decide this right away or even on the application. You have 1 full year to really figure that out after completing your first year core courses for the program that you're interested in, and then declaring your specialist majors or minors at the end of your first year. Now, for students that are looking to apply what they've learned in more of a hands-on practical setting, we have different ways for you to get paid or unpaid work experiences, whether it's through our formal co-op placements where you get to alternate your study terms with working placements, to our professional experience year co-op placement, which is 1 lengthier working term, to our upper year internships, which are just a semester long. I mentioned the research opportunities that you can pursue as of 2nd year. U of T is a leader in research, so we actually produce the 2nd largest amount of research publications among North American universities, right after Harvard. And so since our government recognizes that, we receive a lot of funding from them, which does trickle down to the undergraduate level, and our students are able to pursue research topics with professors or even their own ideas and potentially have their own ideas funded as well. In terms of global learning, I often get asked about learning abroad from students in the US. I guess Canada is not international enough, which is fair and actually better for you because it'll make the acclimation process that much easier. But if you are looking to travel abroad, we have about 140 formal exchange partnerships in 50 different countries. So you can travel to various parts abroad. Let's say you wanted to travel to Singapore and take a class over at National University of Singapore. You can do that. Or if you wanted to take a summer abroad program, which is a U of T course taught by a U of T professor with your fellow U of T classmates, you can do that. We take a course, place it somewhere else in the world. Our students get to do research, field work, maybe learn about the history, traditions, cultures, politics of those countries, maybe pick up a language, and then return back to the University of Toronto. Both options earning credits for that go towards your program or your degree. In terms of getting involved, we want our students to enjoy their experience at U of T. We want you to get to know other students. We have over 800 different clubs and organizations available for you to pursue, whether they're academic, religious, social, cultural, or political. We also have quite an extensive athletics program, both at the varsity or the intramural level. So if you are a competitive athlete looking to play on our varsity league, you'd be competing across Canada with other Canadian schools. But our intramurals, where we have 10,000 students participating, is much more recreational and lighthearted, and just a nice way to catch a break in between or before and after classes. So if all of that sounds good to you, we can talk about the application process, which is done in 2 steps at the University of Toronto. The first step is a very initial application that shouldn't take longer than maximum 20 minutes to complete, since we're just asking for biographical information about you, like your name, contact info, where you're applying from, what school you attend, which campus or campuses that U of T are interested in, and the general program category. Now, there are 2 applications you can choose from. One is the University of Toronto International Student Application, which is for students that are applying just to the University of Toronto in the province of Ontario. Or the alternative is the Ontario Universities Application Center, which is kind of like Ontario's Common Application. And that application is meant for students who are looking to apply to multiple universities in Ontario. The Ontario Universities Application Center website and application is open. So for students who are looking to apply to many universities in Ontario, they can and have begun their application process. The international application for U of T is not yet available. It will be, we're hoping, early next week. So keep checking our website for that. But that's the first step. Again, just that very simple biographical application. No grades or supplementary information would need to be provided at that time. When you get to the application, I mentioned that you could apply to multiple campuses or faculties. You can make up to 3 applications at the University of Toronto, 1 per campus or faculty, so 1 per each of the highlighted areas, meaning you cannot apply to the same campus more than once or the same faculty more than once. If you do choose to, say, combine 2 majors together, so again, if you're looking to pursue a number of programs, you don't decide that on the initial application. It would be decided later on. So for the purpose of the application, it's just 1 general category, 1 program per campus or faculty. This is also where you indicate your top 3 college preferences if you're looking at the Faculty of Arts and Science at the St. George campus. Once you've submitted the initial application, we will follow up with you via email about a week later, and we'll provide you with the next steps. And the main next step is to log into the Join U of T portal, which is basically where you go to submit your high school transcript, so you can get a copy and just upload it. You would self-report your grades, including your junior and any available senior year grades, any dual enrollment courses, any APs. You'd be reporting those on the self-reported grades form. You can go here to check the status of your application, as well as apply for residence. So everything that you do will be done through the Join U of T portal. In terms of our admission requirements, new for this year is that we have gone test optional. So for students that have not had the opportunity to take the test because of COVID, or you did take the test but because of what's happening, maybe you didn't score to your highest potential, don't worry, we are not going to be using the test as a basis of admission this year. So we will only be looking at your grades. If you're intending on taking the test just for U of T, we would discourage you from doing that. We want to, prioritize your health. So please don't worry about submitting test scores for this year. We're strongly looking at your grades only. So I know it's hard to say based on the curriculum that every student is following in the US, but generally we are looking for a strong B+, A- range in terms of your average, and that is the minimum average score. However, for some of our more competitive programs, we are looking for solid A's. In terms of a 4-point GPA structure, out of 4 unweighted, our minimum is about 3.2, but a more competitive GPA will be 3.5 to 3.7 or higher. So again, we are looking at your senior year Q1 grades, but if that's not enough information for us, then we will refer back to your junior year results as well. In terms of our math prerequisites, we do accept pre-calculus or calculus for most of our programs. However, some programs will require you to have calculus. So if it's possible for you to take the highest level math available at your school, then we certainly encourage you to do that. If there are any students following the IB diploma in this meeting today, then we are looking for a minimum predicted score of 28. Of course, that is a minimum, and some competitive scores will require a higher, or competitive programs will require a higher score. Now we're looking for a minimum grade of 4 or higher in the HL or SL prerequisite subjects. So of course, prerequisites will be closely looked at for both IB and non-IB students. Now, some of our programs will be looking for supplementary applications. So if the program that you're interested in is listed here on this chart, then you'll have to provide us with some additional information beyond just your grade. So things like maybe a few short answer essay style questions, maybe a few short video recordings. It could be an audition, it could be a portfolio, it could be a statement of interest. It really depends by program. But not all of our programs will require something extra like this. So only these programs listed here will be asking you to provide some supplemental information. If we have any students here whose first official language is not English and they have not been studying in an English speaking school system where the dominant language of the country is English, they will have to provide us with proof of English proficiency. So IELTS and TOEFL are the common tests that we receive, but there are other ways of meeting that requirement as well. Here is the general admissions timeline. So we do have an early recommended deadline of November 7th for your application, and an early recommended deadline to submit your self-reported grades and your high school transcript. Now for us, early consideration simply means that the earlier you apply, the earlier you could have a decision, or in case something is missing from your application, you're giving yourself enough time to go back in and update the application. Early consideration is not the same as early action or early decision. We don't have those kinds of policies here in Canada, and your decision will not be binding as well. So you'll still have until May 1st to make your decision. Our official hard deadline to submit any documents will be February 1st. The deadline to work on your supplementary applications, if required, will be between December and February. You would finish your residence application by March 31st, and our decisions will be released between December and April. So ample time before you have to respond to your American schools in May as well. For scholarships, we do consider our international students as well as domestic students, Canadian citizens living abroad for scholarships. It's done on an automatic basis, meaning you don't have to apply for the scholarships. We will automatically review you based on the grades that you submit. The only scholarship that does require any kind of supplementary application is called the Lester B. Pearson International Scholarship. And this is only for international students. So Canadian citizens or dual citizens living in the US will not qualify. And this is our most prestigious scholarship. The value for this is basically a full ride. So all 4 years of tuition, housing, and meals. We're looking for very strong academic students, but also somebody that's had a positive impact on a community that they belong to. So if you feel like you'd like to be qualified or considered for the Lester B. Pearson Scholarship, it does require a nomination from your guidance department. So you'd want to speak to your counselors about nominating you. We only allow 1 nomination per school, so it's best to put it on their radar as soon as possible so that the nomination can be submitted by the end of November. For a list of all of our scholarships, you can use a very helpful tool called the Award Explorer. It allows you to filter our scholarships by eligibility criteria, and we'll provide the value for each one as well to give you a better picture. Now we do have some admissions related frequently asked questions that we tend to get asked from students in the US. So when it comes to financial aid, since U of T is a publicly funded institution in Canada, we're not able to offer financial aid in the form of needs-based support to our students, meaning we don't offer loans, grants, or bursaries to international students. If you are a US citizen or an eligible resident in the US that might qualify for financial aid through the federal government of the US, like FAFSA, for example, you will be able to use that here at the University of Toronto. Letters of recommendation. So I know this is a really large aspect of the American application process, but it's not so much here in Canada. So we don't really ask for letters of recommendations, nor do we review them when we are considering our applications. So it's best that you don't submit any letters of recommendations because it could actually slow down your application consideration since we are having to skim through documents that we don't need. Similarly, demonstrated interest is very a huge part of the American application process. But for us, while we're delighted to have you visit us and attend our sessions, it's not something that we use in the admissions consideration. If there are any dual citizens or Canadian citizens living in the US, we will still assess you based on the high school curriculum that you're currently following. The advantage here, though, is that you get to pay Canadian tuition fees. So you'd be paying the same fees as any other Canadian student living here in Canada. And lastly, when it comes to our admissions rate, it's a very challenging response to give you because we are a big school and it does vary quite broadly based on campuses and programs. But generally, our admissions rate is about 40%. Some of the more competitive programs like engineering, computer science, business, architecture, you're looking closer to about 25 to 30%. So here are some ways for you to connect with us. We are hosting a week-long event between October 17th and 25th called Fall Campus Week. And we will have some very specific program information available to you hosted by each of our divisions at the university. So if you're looking for some faculty-specific information or program-specific information, check out discover.utoronto.ca. We're also going to be hosting a lot of student-related chats, some Q&A sessions. So if you want to learn from our other students, what they're asking our team, just to kind of get an idea or a larger overview of the university, I would definitely encourage you to visit discover.utoronto.ca. Future.utoronto.ca is our main website. We have all of our application requirements there. We also have program descriptions and some more full details. You can check out our virtual tour online and also follow along our COVID FAQs, because in case things change in the upcoming months, that's where we will be posting our updates. So note down these web links and please check them out. But if you have any questions at this time, I would be happy to answer them. So feel free to just type in the chat if you have any questions in the Q&A box. I would be happy to address any questions that you might have about anything I covered or anything you've heard about the University of Toronto that you'd like to verify. Let's see. Great question. Is it suggested that students live on or off campus? So firstly, we do offer residence to students for all 4 years. It is guaranteed for the first year. It's not mandatory for any years. We do encourage students that are able to live on campus, that have the financial means to do so, to experience residence at least for their first year, because it will make the transition much easier. It'll make it easier for you to meet people, get to know your roommates and your floor mates, get more involved on campus, and just save time in between, between classes or commuting home. So it's definitely recommended that if you have the ability to live on campus, that you do so for the first year. Residence is not guaranteed after the first year. It's based on either a lottery system, which is more of a random selection, or a point system, depending on how involved you got in residence in the first year. So most of our students do move off campus after their first year. Something about Canadian schools that our students are a lot more independent in the sense that they like to basically manage everything on their own. So when they go and move off campus, they often get a place with their friends or roommates from first year, and that independence is instilled in them. So it's more about kind of doing things for yourselves, whether that's laundry or cooking your own meals or going shopping for your groceries and things like that. And students really appreciate the skill set that they develop. So our residences, while they are available, students do tend to go off campus after first year. And there's a lot of opportunities and options right around the campuses, whether that's like a few minutes of a walk, a couple blocks away, to like a 20-30 minute subway ride. It is very accessible. It's really easy to get around, not just in the city, but also at the other two campuses, whether that's by walking, biking, or public transportation. And we do have students that come back to live on campus after their first year, or after even their second or third year. They might choose to come back for third or fourth year, but it is only guaranteed for the first year. Thank you for that question. Any other questions I can answer? We still have quite a bit of time. We have 15 minutes, so feel free to jump in with any questions, unless I provided a fabulous overview of the university. Okay, well, if we don't have any other questions, I won't keep you here. I know you've spent a lot of time on Zoom or just virtually, so Zoom fatigue. Oh, we have a question coming in. Are you open for college tours? So no, at this time we are closed. The university is closed to visitors. So our visitor center is closed. We're not running any in-person campus tours, but we do have our virtual college tour online. So we have an immersive one, we have a virtual tour, and so there's many ways that you can learn about the university through our future.utoronto.ca. If you just click on visit, it'll take you to all of the virtual tours that we have available, and they're pretty in-depth with descriptions and everything. So you'll get to see and learn a lot more about the campuses online as well. Okay, so I do want to take the time to thank you for joining me this evening. As I was saying, I know Zoom fatigue is a real thing, and so I really do feel for you, and I have compassion towards you. So again, thank you for joining me this evening. If you wish to reach out to me, you can always do so. My email address, I guess, I don't know if you'll receive an email from me. I will get a list of the contacts that were here present today, and I'm happy to reach out to you directly. So I'm definitely going to be your first point of contact, as I'm the recruitment officer for New Jersey. So feel free to reach out to me once I send you the email. And if you'd like to set up a one-on-one appointment after today, just if you have any personal questions you'd like to ask, I would be happy to do that as well. So thank you again for taking the time to join me, and good luck with the rest of your school year. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you for reminding me that.
No problem.
Thank you for a great presentation, and thank you all for participating in this session and joining us. I just want to let you know again, when you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Also, this is just one of many sessions being hosted, so make sure that you sign up for additional sessions at NJACAC.org/virtual fair. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all the other recordings at the same website, NJACAC.org/virtual fair. So once again, thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.